I do think that's how it's going to go today. It's just like a murder mystery, like shakatakata.
7.
Shakatakata. I don't know. I kind of like the. Oh, hi. Welcome to Tech Talk Tuesday. We do this what day do we do it on? Just kidding. It's Tuesdays. So, come back here and catch us live once. Like, it'll change your life. Not you, Mom. It's fine. You can skip one. So this is for August 4th. Tech Talk Tuesday. This is where we get together some of the news from the past week, and we kind of cram it all together and spit it back into your mouth like a mama bird.
That's an image.
So I'm Matt, and always my faithful co-host Neil is with us, and with tie-dye at least 75% of the time.
At least.
That's dedication, Neil.
It is dedication, and I may have one too many tie-dyes.
Okay, well, there is that. And with that, let's get to the news.
That's right. So first thing we have today is Honda is recalling 600,000 vehicles for faulty software. This is really interesting to me because I know you have a Tesla, and so they push software updates to you guys all the time. But apparently this is not something that they can do like that. So you will have to take in your vehicle to a dealer for them to actually reprogram it for you. So this is mostly newer vehicles, 2018 through 2020 Odysseys, 19 and 20 Passports, and 19 through 21 Pilots. But yeah, it's very interesting. Apparently Honda is going to notify all the owners that are affected by this. But yeah, I don't really know how this happens. Particularly something that like you can't just like push a software update to. It just, to me, it almost feels like a hardware issue if you can't have that happen. It's just very interesting to me.
Yeah, it mentions taking it into the dealership to have it reprogrammed, but I'm like, is it that, or is it like swapped? Like, what are you actually doing there?
Yeah, exactly. It's like, if it's really truly just like a software patch, like you can do that anywhere.
When I first read it, I saw, the backup camera sometimes maybe doesn't work. I thought, not a big deal. But then when you read on and realize that there could be just like full systemic like reboots of the underlying system, it's like,
yeah. And what's really interesting too is that like obviously a lot of car manufacturers have moved to like electronics actually controlling like showing you like sensors that are reading weird, like your oil or tire pressure, or like heating, like your coolant getting out of whack or whatever. I don't have that problem because I have an old beater car, but it's really interesting that's just like kind of the way that it's moved to, and like now we're seeing issues with actual hardware, or not hardware but software pieces. And I mean, have you had any problems with your Tesla like this, where it just like doesn't read things properly, or is like this even a concern for you?
Yeah, no, there's definitely been some things that have popped up. One update actually changed the behavior of a couple of the USB ports in the front. It doesn't sound like a big deal, but what it did is it configured these two that were side by side. One, it basically turned one into a pure data USB port and the other one into a pure power USB port, but you couldn't get both out of either of them. And so it was really screwing with people's chargers and things like that, like wireless chargers that people had added aftermarket. There's been goofy little things like that. I mean, it just, little bugs and stuff that pop up, but thankfully they're pretty quick to respond. And there's usually some sort of like minor release that comes out pretty quickly. But yeah, I think this is the new thing, right? Like it's going to be a concern too, I think, moving forward.
I think it's definitely a concern when you start considering like software actually driving your car. So like fully self-driving cars. A small bug like that could be catastrophic for somebody. So
the interesting thing with the Teslas is it actually uses two different systems. So there's like an entertainment / like basically non-critical componentry operates on one entire separate bus than the other. And so the nice thing is you can actually, while you're going down the road, you can hold down your two buttons and reboot the tablet, which is like your speedometer, your mapping, your sound, your Bluetooth, like everything. But the car will still drive because that separate bus that runs all the critical like subsystems is still intact. So I think we're going to have to see more and more of that kind of, backup systems and backups to the backups, so that you have, good failover. But yeah, this is where we're headed, man.
Yeah, no, it definitely is, and like the writing's been on the wall for people for a while. So welcome to the club if you just now figuring this out. But yeah, no, this is just really interesting to me. That you have to actually go in to get it reprogrammed, just so your sensors actually work.
Yeah. Crazy. Well, so in other tech news, Amazon has launched this full season. So they did like a pilot this last December of this. It's a game called Starfinder, right? It's an RPG. What I think is cool about this, I got Nathan Fillion, and every time I see his name, I get pretty geeked out. Fans of Firefly will appreciate that. But they're doing a 6-episode season. And you actually have to pay, so it's like $2 an episode. After I think like the first 2 are free, but then it's $2, or you can pay $10 for the entire season, like a season pass kind of thing. But a lot of content. I mean, just pages and pages and pages of content that they're pulling from the actual Starfinder kind of library, and diving into that universe. So I think that's really, really cool. One of the things you and I always talk about is like immersion, and kind of like the next tier of gaming and the next tier of just, let's say, entertainment, right? And how kind of ubiquitous I think Amazon is becoming, because they've got the Prime Video, you've got the Alexa devices just sitting there in most people's homes, and then you have them on your phone. You have, there's all these different places to engage with. I think it's so cool to see new content and new ways to engage an audience, particularly in a time when people are stuck at home.
Yeah, definitely. I know that's something that we've talked about a lot, and we've played around with Amazon Alexa, and yeah, I mean, it's really cool. It's really fun software to work with and build. So yeah, I mean, I'm all for people trying to find new mediums to entertain people. Like that's something that you and I both really enjoy looking into and like dabbling with. So yeah, this is really cool for me.
Yeah, so I'm going to snatch up the season, and I'll let you know how it goes.
Dope. Well, this is big news out of Microsoft. They have already stated that they want to be in carbon negative status by 2030, but what they just came out and said is that they want to be zero waste at the same time, which is absolutely bonkers for a company the size of Microsoft. Really, really cool. Really, really happy to see this, though. One of the things that Microsoft has been criticized for in recent years is the lifespan of their things, particularly servers. Servers typically only last about 5 years, and then you have to replace them or upgrade them. So yeah, this is pretty big news for them. They're talking about how can we reuse these servers and components in a way moving forward that is more environmentally friendly, which is something that I'm a huge proponent of, because I like to be outside and do all of those fun things. And so, yeah, this is really cool. I'm really happy to see that a tech giant like Microsoft kind of step in and say, yep, this is what we're doing and we're going to do it. And they're fully committed to doing this by 2030.
No, I think that's awesome. I really don't know why people have blasted Microsoft so much, because, I mean, they've recycled Windows 10 for several years. Anyway, so I think they've done a good job of that. But no, that's really cool. It's good to see, and hopefully that will inspire or put pressure right on the shareholders and on in other tech companies to follow suit. So we'll see how it goes. Just a quick mention, because I know when I saw the news, I was a little bit like, originally they said Disney was pulling Mulan, the live action version of it, from theaters, and had delayed it indefinitely. I wasn't really sure what that meant. I assumed that it meant, well, since no one was going to the theater, that they were going to wait to actually make money from it. What I like is that they said, oh, cool, we've got this Disney Plus subscription thing. Let's maybe just charge like a one-time price, like you would from a regular streaming film that's already gone through theatrical release of $30, and we're going to push this thing out fresh there. So September 4th, we're all going to get to finally see Mulan again.
This is like that price point seems like pretty steep for like just like a single person that has like Disney Plus. Like $15 to see like one movie seems a little tall. But yeah, no, I'm glad that again, like where can we find entertainment? Does it have to be going out? Does it have to be those things? Like coming back to that point, like I love seeing companies find new ways to actually engage with their audience. And while this is still like a movie, and we've been there, done that, actually releasing something on a platform like Disney Plus for the first time is really cool. Like, and I think it opens up the possibilities for that to happen again. And you know, I mean, I just think it's really cool. So
yeah, I agree. And it's actually rumored that there's actually a trailer for the next Avengers at the end of it. I'm just kidding. I made that up. But if you were
halfway seriously, because I was like, it would be like this.
It's true. It would be like them to be like, yeah, let's put it at the end of this movie. Like, it's going to be fine.
Exactly.
Tony Stark is back? No, he's not. He's in the part. And that's sad. Yeah, you know.
What have I been saying, Matt, about in-home speakers?
Always listening to you.
They are always listening to you. And Google was just caught again with this. This is not the first time that Google has been caught listening without using the wake words of "Hey Google." I hope that I just woke up someone's Google Home right there.
I'm sure you did.
Yeah, I did too. But yeah, so Google has apparently already rolled this back. They stated that it was an accidental push. The person that found this, it was apparently listening after their fire alarm went off. And Google recently just partnered with the security company ADT. They're kind of saying like, oh, this is because of that, and we prematurely pushed this patch for this. But again, like Google doesn't have a good track record with this, in that they were caught listening in on your conversations, and real people were actually listening to these conversations. It wasn't just a computer collecting data. So yeah, this is really bad. Looks pretty bad on Google. But I think, again, you take that risk when you have any of these devices, whether it's like the Apple Home, the Google Home, or anything on the Alexa platform. Just have that potential. So
I agree. This is one of those things where the application of it's pretty cool, right? Like I'm like, okay, but it's the fact that no one knew that it might happen.
Yeah.
So like we actually, with our Alexa devices here, they use a guard mode that we have tied into our Ring alarm system and stuff, so that when we leave, it activates and it listens for things like glass breaking, alarms going off, and things like that, which I appreciate. And they tell you what it's going to do, and you have the option to turn it on and off. This is not that, right? This is where people had no idea that this was going to happen, and that it was going to. So this really does get into a privacy issue, less of a why is this thing listening for alarms? That's not a bad thing in and of itself. It's just people need to be able to authorize that.
Yeah, and I think that obviously was not happening here. And when Google was first caught doing this, they actually allow you to like opt in to people like being able to like do basically like listen in on your conversations, which again, like what the heck? I have an Alexa that is sitting on my computer or on my computer desk right now. So I probably will never have one fully going in my house, but I'm a security nut and privacy freak. So Yeah, I get it. I get that it's really helpful, but just remember that you are always taking that risk that that you're putting a lot of trust in people that have a lot to gain for selling your data.
Yeah, no doubt.
Well, with that, that's all we have for today. So thank you for joining us on this edition of Tech Talk Tuesday.
You're welcome.
Yes, thank you for joining me, Matt. If you wanted to, if you want to read up on any of the articles we talked about today, you can find them in the description below. And while you're scrolling down to see those, just stop right at the subscribe button and hit subscribe. That way, you won't miss any other editions of Tech Talk Tuesdays, because you don't want to miss these lovely faces. And while you're at it, go ahead and give us a follow on our social media. We're on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. I know that's all three. It's kind of crazy. We would really love for you to follow us on there. We do post business and software news pretty much every day. So if you want to keep up to date with the current happenings in the tech world, follow us there. And with that, we will see you next Tuesday.
There wasn't even like a murder mystery part of this. Like, I feel let down.
I know, we really did drop the ball on that.